Okay, let's go for video 3. 3 in a day. That's not too bad, right? Oh, and if it seems like I'm smoking a lot of cigarettes, I'm actually not. I smoke about 30 grams of tobacco a week, which is technically less than a packet of cigarettes. I just roll them smaller and thinner, and I microdose. But as with any of my videos, take a look at the description box. There's always going to be more information there. Potential for trigger warning. I just made the 2 other videos for the court. A bit longer on the second one than I wanted. I should have spaced it out better, but you know, I am not laconic. And the reason I constantly say that I'm not laconic is because my ex tried saying I was laconic. Basically, you're not spoon feeding me information anymore. Oh God, the horror. I might actually make you think for yourself. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is with the court appearance videos, and then with the last 2 I did more on the shoe, if the shoe fits theory and the assumptions theory. I have a bit more confidence, somewhat more in the summaries as well. The thing is that the more I prove that I can do this, that I can make these videos, that I can get them up and out, it doesn't matter if anyone watches them. It's the act of doing them. What just fell on my shirt? No, we are not. No, spider, thank you. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Thank you. Okay. Ants, you can go away too. Thank you. Nature. The best part of waking up is not having nature in my cup. Yeah, usually if I was out here, I'd be having a cup of coffee and having to check, is there nature in my cup? What's swimming around in it? Today I have to worry about what's in my sports bra. Fun. But the more I prove to myself that I can do this, the more my confidence returns, the more my self-worth returns. And I've had my self-worth, my confidence horribly destroyed over the last 15 years. Technically the last 20, because it started in the States when I met my ex. And my confidence had already been kind of broken to begin with before I met him. But he did a number on me. And if it was just him, that'd be one thing. But the fact that it was the doctors, on top of that, having to rebuild my medical history here. Then once I was out on my own, I mean, even before I was out on my own, anytime I had to do anything, you know, it was always, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about, or you're not speaking French well enough, or you're not this, that, and the other thing, which lowered my confidence again. And I had to rely on him for everything. It was a very, very codependent relationship. To the point where my oldest, when he was in middle school, anything that needed to be done for the schools, it was my ex that took care of it. Which, if I went on my scooter and picked him up to be able to bring him back to the house, you know, on a day that he didn't want to take the bus and stuff like that, they thought, you know, anyone that saw me, whether it was the surveillance or it was the other kids, they thought I was like the big sister or the young girlfriend of the father or whatever. They all thought I was dead. I wasn't, I had my ability to be a mom stripped away from me. I had my ability to work stripped away from me because as soon as we got here, my health started deteriorating. My autoimmune started flaring up horribly. He wasn't very supportive. He'd take me to the doctor's appointments, he'd humor me, but then he'd have appointments with my doctors, you know, behind my back, or, you know, I'd be sitting in the waiting room trying to calm down from a panic attack, and he'd be saying stuff behind my back, and I have no idea what he was saying. I know one of the doctors, Dr. Baconier, I can only remember his name because it's Dr. Bacon, neurologist, we went to him because I wanted to find out how to get a brain scan because my brain was hurting. My brain had been hurting for years. All of my autoimmune issues started when I was age 12. In school, I had a partial temporal lobe seizure, an absence seizure. And so that triggered a lot of things in my life. But when we got here, it took me a while to realize, yeah, see, I'm allergic to, do I got any around here? No. Ow! That was a thorn. Ow. Well, anyway, the wood around here has a lot of spores, lichen, and fungus on it. And they don't particularly clean that off when they put it into the fireplace. So I'm allergic to that when it's burnt, and then that leaves ash everywhere in the house. Even if you clean every day, it still leaves trace amounts, and it was keeping my autoimmune disorders on high anxiety, basically. And I also didn't realize that I was horribly, horribly low in vitamin D. Um, all the doctors said, well, just go out in the sunshine. Yeah, I'm a ginger. I burn. Thank you. But, going out in the sunshine wasn't enough. And it wasn't until I forced the doctors to check what are my vitamin levels, specifically vitamin D, that they went, oh, you're dangerously low. I was in the process of developing rickets, which I'd spent over a decade in vast amounts of pain. No pain medication would take the pain away. My brain was hurting more and more. Once I was finally able to start doing something about the vitamin D levels, which the way they wanted me to do it didn't work. It actually lowered my levels. Little ampoules of high concentrate vitamin D, and my levels dropped. When I started doing things on my own, naturally, things changed, and my levels started going up, and the pain stopped. I went from being at 90% pain all the time, all day, all night, to being closer to 50%. Now I'm closer down to 30%, to where I can ignore it and just carry on. So when we got here, the pain was intense. The pain in my brain got worse. And there were days when the only thing I could do was lie on the floor in the dark, and the floor was cold because it was tile. So that helped. But that meant that I couldn't function like a wife. I couldn't function like a mom. I couldn't keep the house clean like a maid. I couldn't cook on time like, he wanted me to be a proper French wife. And his personality changed drastically because in the States, I was working 2 to 3 jobs a week, including weekends. So I was constantly doing stuff. I was constantly working different jobs, whether it was an animal care tech over at Georgetown, whether it was a manager at Pier 1, whether it was an assistant manager or key holder, at different retail shops, whatever, graphic design type stuff for bathroom remodeling, whatever. Didn't matter. I was doing multiple jobs, and I was busting my butt. And when we moved here, I couldn't do any of that. And his personality completely changed. My value in his eyes completely changed. I didn't realize it, but I was becoming a social alcoholic because of the fact that my only way of getting attention and affection from him was if I was drunk, or at least had one glass in my hand. And that was doing damage to my body. And when we moved here, he didn't want to buy the type of foods that I needed for my health. And we were checking online, all different types of sources, talking with different doctors and stuff like that, and going, yeah, I need this type of diet. In fact, right now, I should be eating more of a Mediterranean diet, and I can't afford it. But I do what I can. But we gave him tons of information. We looked up all kinds of information that, and we talked with a nutritionist, and even the nutritionists here, they're like, oh, you just have to conform to a normal French diet, lots of bread. No. I'm not gluten intolerant, but I have a sensitivity to it. And that's mainly because I have high amounts of inflammation in the body. So everything just kept stripping away my self-worth, my value as a person. If I was in the middle of saying something to, reprimand the children for doing something silly or whatever that, was mildly dangerous, whatever, he would cut me off mid-sentence and say exactly the same thing. There was just so much toxicity. Like for my oldest birthday one year, he knew that we, were struggling for money and stuff like that because we were trying to put it away, to do this, that, and the other thing. And it was costing a lot of money to send him to one of the better private schools for high school, to get him out of the house. That way he could sleep there during the week, and he could, reestablish his own identity and stuff like that. All he wanted for his birthday, didn't want a party, didn't want gifts. He just wanted a birthday cake, American style, with proper frosting and stuff like that, which would have been easy either for me to make if we could have ordered, frosting online, or if we'd have gone to the one English store that's not too far away and had them make one. But my ex said he'd take care of it. His way of taking care of it was coming out with a giant watermelon cut in half and using matches as lighter. He thought it was a funny joke. A funny joke would have had a real cake behind it. It left my son very traumatized, and really cut down his self-worth. I wasn't good enough to receive gifts. I wasn't good enough to receive affection. I wasn't good enough for this, that, and the other thing. And then trying to do it on my own, getting out, trying to figure out how the welfare system here works, how to get help, how to figure out how to get a proper lawyer so that I could, contest the divorce proceedings, and trying to deal with, all the aspects of a traumatized child, plus trying to figure out, how to find another place to live because I was staying with a friend, and it was just intense from all angles. The schools didn't want to work with me. Everything just kept cutting down who I am as a person. And then I got trapped into this one group of social workers who were very abusive, didn't want to do their job, didn't want to work with me in terms of I can't remember information that I hear orally. I have to have it written down. I can't read paperwork. I need it emailed so that way I can copy, paste it, translate it. I can't open PDFs. And I can't copy paste PDFs. Google Image is getting better, but anything that I tried translating, no. And then my ex was constantly doing this, that, and the other thing, sabotaging every which way he could. And and anytime I had to deal with my oldest, he resembled a lot of the toxic traits that he got from his father, from the situation. And so he would either be helping to calm me down or putting me into a triggered state. So it was just a lot of toxicity, and I'm pretty sure that I've had at least 5, maybe 10 mini strokes between now and the original stroke. And my health is deteriorating. And I can't get the help that I need. I can't go to the hospitals here. The hospital in Poitiers has already proven that they take care of their own. And since my ex works at the hospital, they take care of their own. So it's not a question of paranoia. It's a question of repeating behavior patterns. And I'm tired of it. And so every time people keep me in the dark, feed me lots of shit, treat me like a mushroom, it messes with me. So being able to fix the leak in the basement, which is such a simple, stupid thing, just a replacement piece. I helped build houses with my mom when I was 10, maybe younger, probably younger because we were still in Wisconsin. I had tools around me all the time, so the fact that I didn't feel safe doing that, and this time I could. The fact that I've made these videos and I've put them out there. I've had practice because I've done, the stuff on Instagram. I've done the stuff on Facebook. I've done the stuff on Twitter, and I've done the stuff on TikTok. Nothing really came of it, but it's experience. And it's enough experience to go, I can do this. So it's reclaiming myself. Most of the stuff that's out there that talk about the different memes, of being a survivor and post-traumatic stress disorder and the thing about past traumas, it's not past for me. I'm still in it. So every time I do something that reclaims who I am, I did the 100 Days project on Instagram where, every day I did something. A lot of the time it was painting or drawing. And I posted something that I'd done, and it was reclaiming my creativity, which my ex had stolen from me. He cut down my ability to think that I was good enough to try writing. Cut down my ability to dream, to hope. So doing the 100 days, that was cool. I was proud of myself. But it had a goal for it because it started before my son's birthday. And I knew that between the point of his birthday, end of April, to the court case, whenever it was going to be in June, because we didn't have a date then, that I would have to do every day. Yeah, we're still alive. We're still trapped. Doing the 100 Days Project made the most sense. But then after the 100 days was done, and I did it. After the 100 days was done, June comes around. I'm like, I need to do something because we're still trapped. Still need to, prove that we're alive and that we're still fighting. And I'm running out of art supplies. Tried a photography challenge. Couldn't do it. Didn't have any motivation. Just didn't inspire anymore. Which is horrible because I love photography and I'm good at it. But I've just lost so much of who I am. And I just don't feel like me anymore. And because I'm in survival mode all the time, I don't know who I am. I know what I need to do to survive. I know what I need to do every day to help get us a little closer, to keep him sane, to keep his humanity okay, to do that for myself, to support my 21-year-old however he needs it, to keep functioning. But that's not really living, it's existing. So it feels good to sit in the confidence again. Because I know my worth. I know what I'm capable of. And my worth is dictated off of what I'm capable of giving and doing. And I'm good at what I do. But a lot of people don't see that. And I hate the flies. So even if I have confidence, even if I have derpy, silly moments, and I cherish those. And yeah, I'm too intense sometimes. But I'm still trying to survive. I'm still trying to figure out who I am while I'm being poisoned. I'm still doing the work healing, but it's slow. And I'm not out of the woods yet. And it's going to take a while. So just because I look okay, just because I can roll through the panic attacks and reclaim myself again, doesn't mean that it's not happening. Doesn't mean that I'm not living in abject terror. It's just I'm better at detaching from it and setting it aside and not spending too much energy on it. And the more I keep reclaiming myself, the less intrusive thoughts I have. The more me I am. Yeah. So I'm not faking anything. I'm just a very strong person in general, and I've been doing this for so long that I'm not necessarily what other people expect, but I'm always authentic. If I get overly silly, it's because I don't really have anyone to talk to. I don't have anyone to spend that energy on and distribute it more evenly or to practice with. I'm raw, I'm feral. But I'm getting better. And each day I reclaim a little bit more of myself. So it's a little bit more of who I am. So if it seems like, oh, she's faking it, she's really not that bad. Yeah, I am. And there's some videos, there's at least one recent one where I held up a trigger warning because it was just that bad. And I do have bilingual aphasia. It's undiagnosed. But as long as I can stay lucid, as long as I can stay calm, as long as I can speak in English, it doesn't affect me too badly, not too noticeably. Mainly because I already have a high enough vocabulary. And I think that's one of the things that saved me. I think the reason why I still have access to the French language in general is because when I was 6, 7, and 8 years old, I went to a French immersion school. So the stroke basically did a factory reset back to those age groups, to that level of intelligence in French. So it's still there, but it doesn't... Like NPR did a thing. There was a scientist, they did a study on why, and it had to do with Jane Austen, but they did a study on why, for some people, when you read a book, everything lights up. It's like, you hear the sounds, you hear the conversations, you see the imagery while you're still reading the book, and you're very much aware of your surroundings. It's like dreaming while you're awake. And the majority of the scientists involved didn't think, oh, don't get your hopes up, not much is going to show on a brain scan, blah, blah, blah. And they proved that, yeah, lots of areas in the brain light up. So my brain used to light up a little bit when I read in French, but it doesn't anymore. It doesn't mean anything. In English, it's only certain authors now. They have to be a specific writing style that really clicks. But that comes back, especially the more calm I am. But it's a slow process. Brain damage is a real thing. And it's different for everyone. Not just in how it affects the brain, but how the brain was already structured to begin with. And I was reading well above my age group, at a young age. I mean, I think I started reading, like, Edgar Casey and stuff about true ghost stories and true crimes and all kinds of self-help books, like starting around age 10. Was reading Mercedes Lackey, was reading David Eddings, Asimov. I love Bradbury. Yeah. So, I mean, I was reading the bigger books, easily starting at age 10. So I had a high vocabulary. My vocabulary is dumbed down a lot because I don't have enough stimulation. I don't have access to delivery, so I don't have access to books. The library here doesn't really have a big selection in English, nor is it really interested in getting English. So I'm kind of limited. And I don't get the mental stimulation I need to feed my brain the nutrition that it needs, from other people. So if I seem confident, I am, but I'm fighting it. I'm fighting to be that. I'm fighting to reclaim myself and to figure out who I want to be next, because so much of me has changed. So it's not that I'm faking anything, and this is self-soothing. It's just that I'm very much aware of what my traumas are, what my triggers are, and I choose not to let them control me because I have experience with working with them and making an effort to not let them control me. But it takes a while. It takes practice. So at some point I'll give hints and clues as to what I do. More random musings and things that, epiphany moments that I've come up with. Like the connection to intrusive thoughts and dreaming. I have so many. But anyway, thanks for listening.